So that's it. England have played their final game before the World Cup in Qatar 2022. England went into these two games against Italy and Germany with relegation hanging over our heads. We didn't avoid it. We are relegated. However, is it all doom and gloom? Is there hope for England at the World Cup? Maybe. So England played last Friday at the San Siro in the UEFA Nations League, obviously against Italy. The big question going into the game, though, was what system Southgate was going to play. Remember, before this match, England's last performance was against Hungary at Wolverhampton, where we got battered 4-0. So there's a lot of questions, and England needed a response. On the night, Southgate went back to a back three, back five, back three, whatever you want to call it. Basically, 3 central defenders and then 2 wing backs. The other surprise was players such as Ivan Toney, who was selected in the overall squad, were not chosen for this particular matchday team. The back 3 consisted of Walker, Dyer and Maguire. Some people, again, didn't want Maguire anywhere near the squad, but we all knew he was probably going to play these 2 games. And James and Saka made the full-back positions. Quite important because there's obviously a lot of competition for that right-back slot. James has pretty much cemented himself first choice right-back for England. But it turned out actually to be a performance that England again did not need. England were poor. No attacking threat. Didn't seem like there was any sort of plan going forward or at the back. Poor defensively. Well, we looked incredibly weak every time Italy went forward. Italy, as we all know, went on to win 1-0. It was a fantastic goal, but it was really poor defensive work again from England. And there'll be another occasion during this break where England were just too slow to get out and close players down and stop that shot from coming in. It was a good finish though, nevertheless. But it finished 1-0 to Italy, and that marked over 500 minutes since England had scored a single goal from open play. So all in all, it showed that England had made no progress, really, from June. It was terrible. You know, we still couldn't score goals. The team looked disjointed. The only hope on the night, or only sort of enthusiasm on the night, was the inclusion of Bellingham, who was fantastic. He was England's best player on the night. And Jack Grealish, when he came on, still made a really good impression. But again, though, the same old problems occurred. Southgate making changes almost too late. He needs to be proactive rather than reactive. Only making 2 substitutions as well. We're 1-0 down against Italy. Relegation hanging over our heads. And essentially only made 1 attacking substitution. That was Jack Grealish. So only making 2 substitutions when you're 1-0 down. Only making those substitutions when you're already 1-0 down. It's the same old problems that came up again for Southgate in England. So it feels like we just sleptwalked to relegation. We did nothing in the game. I can barely think of an opportunity or a chance where really you think we should have scored. It was just a terrible, terrible performance. So that was that. England were relegated, almost like nothing. No effort, no attempt to avoid the situation, really. It was just really, really poor. So that left us with a bit of a dead rubber, actually, against Germany for both teams. Germany could no longer top the group. England, obviously, were relegated, but we were desperate for a performance and desperate just for a goal. As a result of the Italy game following what had occurred in June against Hungary and the other teams, a lot of talk was coming to this game regarding Southgate and his position as England manager. Even die-hard Southgate followers were now starting to turn. So a lot of pressure going into this game. England's first game back at Wembley in a while. The pressure was going to be on, really, if England put in another performance like they did against Italy. He stuck with a back 3 again, but this time he included John Stones instead of Kyle Walker, and Luke Shaw came in for Saka. Pope stayed in goal. Now, very quickly, I should add here that I would usually have a match day vlog for the home game. However, any of us that were there on the day, anyone who drinks in the Green Man pub will know that on the day, some absolute disgraceful filth stormed the Green Man pub where England fans were drinking before the game. This is a family pub. There were children, families there having a pint before the match, and around about 50 German fans masked, wearing Union Jack hats, stormed the pub and started throwing punches. It was an absolute disgrace. England fans were seriously hurt, and it's just the lowest of the low. Those fans, if any of them's watching this, you're scum. You're pure and utter scum. During that commotion, though, I was pushed back against a car. I did have my phone on my hand, and I believe it's been damaged during this incident, if you like. So a lot of my files from the day became corrupted. I think it's messed my SD card up. So unfortunately, I don't have a match day vlog. So I'd like to say thank you for those fans that did allow me to interview them before the match, and I'm so sorry that I cannot piece that together. I do want to say, though, that all the German fans I spoke to before the match outside Wembley were absolutely marvellous. Brilliant fans, really nice, really friendly. But you've had 50 lads who's really let your country down that day. And I hope all those England fans that were badly hurt that day recover quickly. Sending my regards. So back to the match then. England needed a response. And to be honest with you, the first half wasn't bad. England had the best chance of the game. Sterling should have scored, cutting back into his left foot. It was a good save from the keeper, but he should be scoring that. England arguably, they still weren't great, but it was a slight improvement from Italy. Going into the second half, all hell broke loose. As we all know, Germany went 2-0 up, and it was poor from England. Maguire giving the ball away and then conceding a penalty against Mussolaya. It was poor. It did him no favours. As we all know, he's got his critics at the minute, and that really hasn't helped him out. So it was poor. It was very poor. All of Maguire's own doing, and it doesn't look good, does it, for the World Cup? He's going to have to find some form. He just doesn't look match fit. But Germany scored 1-0 from the penalty spot. Kai Havertz then scored a second. It was again a wonderful curling effort into the far corner, but it's the same as the Italy goal. Too late, closing him down. He's allowed too much time at the edge of the box just to pick his spot. So it's just poor defence from England all round, really. And Germany, I won't say they deserved a 2-0 lead, but they took a 2-0 lead, and England looked like now it was going to be trouble. Because you're 2-0 down against the Germans. England are following a huge, a really bad run of results. We haven't scored a goal in a while. It could have got messy. But credit where credit is due. The England lads showed some fight. Well done for Southgate for the substitutions. We slate him when he gets it wrong, so let's praise him when he gets it right. Mount and Saka came on and had a huge impact upon the game. This is what we need more from particularly from Mount, who hasn't done this enough in an England shirt. Luke Shaw got a goal to make it 2-1, and then England scored a brilliant goal, a fantastic run. The two substitutes from combined. Saka with a great run into the German penalty area. Mount picks it up, first time hit, it's a cracking goal. Lovely, lovely England goal. England then deservedly got a penalty. Jude Bellingham being found in the box. Jude Bellingham again, what a player. This lad is phenomenal. He has played himself, he's the only player who's played himself into the starting 11 for the World Cup. Hands down, phenomenal. Best player over the two games. So England then scored a third. Kane with what Kane does best. An amazing penalty. No stopping that. And England went from not scoring in over 500 minutes to scoring 3 goals in 11 minutes. And it was a bit like, where has this come from? It was brilliant to see. Germany let it slip as much as what England came into it. But there's hope. There was a bit of fight there. There was quality there. The right substitutions were made. Albeit, again, a bit too late. It takes England again to go a goal down or 2 goals down for Southgate to react, but it was still the right choices. But then came the terrible error from Pope. He's got to be saving that. England did enough to win this game in the end, but Pope's error was terrible. He should have been saving it. It was a disappointing end, really. So the game ended up 3-3, and it didn't flatter England. England played well in that second half. For 20-25 minutes, they were all over Germany, and it's been a while since we've seen that from an England team all over anybody. So it was great to see, and it does offer some optimism for the World Cup. It was looking like we were going to go there and everyone was going to turn us over. Now we've seen a little bit of fight. That is now the catalyst to go on to the World Cup. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't great, but I think Southgate has now stuck to his system, which is 3 at the back. Fine. Now he knows, stick with it. Don't go to a 4 at the back on the first opening day of the World Cup. Stick to what your system is. I think his starting 11 is pretty much decided as well. I think left back's quite open. A couple of the attacking options. Does Saka come in? Is it Luke Shaw? Is it Grealish? There's a few of those there that I think have got to be decided, and maybe another place in central midfield, but the majority of the starting 11, I believe, is decided. Pickford is hands down England's #1 keeper, no question, not even having a debate about that. I think from Southgate, what you need is a settled system. He needs to stick with it. He needs to be proactive rather than reactive, and he needs to pick more players on form. England's best performing players are the players in form for their club. He needs to take that forward now into the World Cup. But it's not all doom and gloom for England. There is hope. 3-3 was a good result in the end. I think it was probably even across the game. England did have the better chances, though. If any team were going to win it, it would have been England. But 3-3 it ended. So thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you think. Is there optimism going into this World Cup now, or a little bit more? I don't know. Let me know what you think below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.